beast! Ah!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Not the Bees, the Nicolas Cage Filmography Podcast. I am Megs.
I'm Elizabeth.
And this week, we watched 2023's The Flash.
It just feels like a year.
It just feels like a year because this movie is 2.5 hours long. Barry is a wormy little scientist who is also the Flash, and from the voiceover he gives, he feels like he's called in just to clean up the Justice League's mess, which is how we meet him. He's at a cafe ordering breakfast on his way to work to a job that he's already late for when Alfred calls and tells him to get to the city. During his time in the city, there's a big slow-mo scene at a hospital where he saves all the babies and a nurse that were trapped in the hospital's nursery. But I have to be honest and just give my feeling right here. This scene is far too long. It's also full of terribly rubber-looking CGI, and it tries to be Quicksilver from X-Men First Class.
Thank you.
And it's not good. Barry is also sad because his dad was accused of murdering his mother many, many years ago. But his dad has a parole hearing coming up, and Barry is somehow able to clean an unusable piece of footage from a grocery store where his father was at the time of the killing using Wayne tech. But that backfired because his dad never actually looks up at the camera. He talks to his dad on the phone in prison. His dad says, don't put all your faith on it. Maybe it's better that he's in prison rather than being out in the world missing his wife, which is kind of a strange sentiment to say to your son who also lost his mother. Just weird. Barry can't handle this, and he goes on a run, but he's really in his feels, and he ends up running too fast. He gets so fast, his speed ends up creating some kind of time sphere. It's called a chrono bowl, I think, where he can see things he's done over the last few days. Before he does anything, he decides to consult Batman, who is played by Ben Affleck. Batman tells him not to do it, and Barry ignores him. So Barry sets out to save his mom. He goes to the store where she had been earlier in the day that she was murdered and put all the tomatoes that she needs in the cart so that his dad won't have to go out later and she won't die. Then he starts to run back to his time, but a few years away, some random humanoid creature jumps out from nowhere and punches Barry into a reality where his mom is alive, but he's only 18 and is a freshman in college. It's also the same night that Barry needs to get his power, so he convinces this 18-year-old version of himself to go recreate the accident so he can have Flash powers too. But Barry Prime, as I'm just going to call him because there's now two Barrys from now on, Barry Prime loses his powers in the transaction. Then there's a news story. Apparently, this is the same time about when Zod came to Earth way back in Man of Steel, and Barry decides that they need to find Superman. So they go to find Batman to help. This time, it's played by Michael Keaton. This Batman tells them both that they fucked up. They end up sneaking into his Batcave, and he ends up begrudgingly helping them locate where Superman should be, held prisoner by Russians, go figure, except it's not Kal-El, it's Kara Zor-El, Kal's cousin, and meant to be his protector. They rescue her, and she helps them fight off the Russians once she gets into the sun. They all go back to Batman's Batcave, and Batman and Barry Prime work with lightning to get Barry Prime's powers back, but Supergirl ends up having to fly him into the clouds to get zapped directly, and it works. Now there are two Flashes. Kara decides she'll help them take out Zod. After all, he killed her cousin, but everyone dies, and Barry turns back time over and over and over, but Batman and Supergirl just keep dying. During one of the resets, Barry Prime tells 18-year-old Barry that Mom died, that's why he came back. 18-year-old Barry doesn't want Mom to die again. They argue a bit before the same humanoid creature from the beginning of Barry's time traveling ability. And lo and behold, it's the 18-year-old Barry, but he's been spending time trying to save their mom without any consequences happening for a very, 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 very long time. He's now covered in some kind of, I guess, like time dust that's just like encrusted all over him, so he's hardly recognizable. He kicked Barry Prime out of the Chrono Bowl, which is just a ridiculous name for the time bubble that he makes when he runs too fast, so that 18-year-old Barry could get his powers. Humanoid Barry goes to kill Barry Prime to prevent his mom being killed again, but 18-year-old Barry puts himself in the middle and is stabbed instead, which destroys the humanoid Barry, and 18-year-old Barry also dies. Barry Prime goes back, and though he interacts with his mom at the store this time, he puts all the tomatoes back, but he also rearranges them so that his dad has to look up when he's later in the store while his wife is murdered, providing a concrete alibi at his appeal hearing, and now Barry's dad is released. Barry gets a date with Iris on his way out of the courthouse. Bruce Wayne calls to congratulate him. He tells Barry that he's pulling up to the courthouse now, and when he steps out of the car, we see Bruce Wayne is now being played by George Clooney. There's an end credit scene where Barry and Aquaman are out drinking, and Barry is regaling him with the tale of the three Batmans. Aquaman is tanked. He falls into a puddle and decides to just stay there and sends Barry to get them more booze. The end. Elizabeth?
Yes, Megan.
What did you think of this movie?
This movie is too fucking long. It's like...
For starters.
Just for starters, it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's not very cohesive. This is like, DC is like, Marvel is doing the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do our own multiverse.
Yeah, no, I literally have a note here. This movie takes the time travel and multiverse theory seen in Marvel's Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home, combines them, and still manages to create a geriatric, unbelievable fuck-up.
Not a bad note. My first note says this movie is bad. Because... And then my second note says, saving all the children, Quicksilver did it better.
Thank you. Thank you. And with way better tunage. Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Way better soundtrack.
We didn't even talk about Nick Cage. So when they're in the Chrono Bowl and they're talking out their fifis, and you can see worlds are colliding, and so they show the 1950s Superman, and they show the 1950s Flash running in his own Chrono Bowl, and they show
like a bunch
Christopher
of
Reeves.
Yeah.
And they're showing Adam West. They're showing different Batman and Superman throughout history, all on these different little worlds, because everybody is in their own self-contained fucking multiverse.
Yeah.
Right? But then they show the back of Superman, and he's fighting a big fucking spider.
A arachnid creature. Yeah.
And he shoots lasers out of his eyes, and then he turns around and the lasers dim in his eyes, and we see that it's de-aged Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And he's looking out, and he's watching these multiverses collide, just as every Superman and every Batman is watching these universes collide. That's it! He doesn't have a goddamn line! He doesn't even speak a fucking line. And then...
Not a word. Not one word.
And then Nicolas Cage came out and said that is not what he filmed. That he was there for 3 hours, and he filmed trying to convey through his eyes and his face alone the sadness of these universes colliding. He didn't shoot any action scenes. He didn't know that they were going to have him fighting a giant fucking spider. And that story only works because, okay, so in one of the early discs of An Evening with Kevin Smith tells a story about how he was hired to write Superman, and it was going to be directed by Tim Burton.
Right.
And he says that producer John Peters came to him with 3 notes. 1, I don't want to see him in the fucking underwear. 2, I don't want to see him fucking fly. And 3, in the third act, he has to battle a giant spider. Kevin Smith thought that this was fucking ridiculous. And eventually the entire project fell apart. But then John Peters had Will Smith fight a giant mechanical spider in Wild Wild West.
Mm-hmm.
There's a documentary, came out in 2015, called Whatever Happened to Superman Lives. There are leaks online of the test footage of Nicolas Cage in the suits. They had 3 different ones. And Tim Burton and Nick Cage have talked about it a little bit over the intervening years because it was scrapped in 1998. So you're talking that this is almost 30 years old.
It was supposed to follow Batman, right?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. So that's where we get Nick Cage fighting a giant fucking spider in this one.
Listen, I have no problem with that at all. The problem that I have is that he's fucking Gumby with Nicolas Cage's face.
The CGI is really bad. Like, he said that he knew they were going to use CGI because they were going to de-age him because it's been 30 years since the project was scrapped. What he didn't expect was that they were going to CGI him into a fight with a fucking spider. And all of the CGI looks really bad in this movie.
All of it.
Like, I specifically made a note about the CGI Supergirl when she's flying around fighting the Russians or she's flying around fighting Zod's army. She looks fucking terrible.
Right. There's no flow to her whatsoever. She's just like stock still. She doesn't move her body really. Like all you see is like the cape move. Not to mention Barry's suit when he's in the Flash suit. It looks like either it's squeezing his head or that like his face, like his cheeks are too big for the fucking helmet. Like it looks so bad. All of it looks so, and there's so much, because it's a superhero movie, there's so much fucking CGI in it. It's dependent on CGI and it's so fucking bad. And like,
well, when you diminish your CGI budget in favor of other things, but your movie is so reliant on CGI, like you either have to pony up the money or you don't do it. It doesn't look right. The in-between, the uncanny valley of it is just demonstrably bad.
Right. This movie was really terrible. Ben Affleck, listen, I have opinions about his Batman because I don't think it's good. We're not going to get into that. But the beginning of the film, when Barry is on his way to go and save all of the babies from he's not really there to save the babies from the hospital. Like, he's there just as something explodes. And as the thing explodes, Batman is riding off to catch the villain that made the thing go explode. So Barry is essentially kind of, there to clean things up. But that's also how team dynamics work. So I don't know what he's bitching about. Like, the Flash's attitude in the entire movie was actually really fucking annoying, and it pulled me out of it too much. But, like, so Batman is driving. He's on his bat cycle. And the thing is, like, I really appreciated the bat suit that they gave to that Batman because it's very tactical. It's very practically tactical. Like, there's no nipples. There's still a cape, which... It's a bad design. If you can't fly, it's bad fucking design. I'm sorry. I understand he uses it to. I have issues. We're not gonna get into it. I'm just gonna back up a little bit because I'm not doing that. Anyways, but they made him CGI the whole time. Like, it's just Ben Affleck. Like, why can't he just be riding a fucking motorcycle? We don't see him actually be Ben Affleck until he's like in the suit as Bruce Wayne.
So this movie is really just an excuse to have a lot of cameos.
It is, and I appreciate most of them.
It was very nice. I'm going to say some nice things about the movie right now.
Go ahead.
It's very nice to see Michael Keaton back as Batman.
It was my only favorite part, besides seeing George Clooney.
That was the other one, was George Clooney. And there's actually a very funny line at the end where he's run and he's put everything back, but he changed the tomatoes so that his dad could get off. And then he's talking to Batman on the phone, and Batman steps out of his car, and it's George Clooney. And Ezra Miller goes, well, who the fuck is this then?
But also, I have an issue with that because how did him changing the tomatoes change who Bruce Wayne was? Because Bruce Wayne was born way before him.
Butterfly effect.
But that doesn't matter. It would butterfly effect from that moment. Bruce Wayne would still exist. Like, it's more believable that he wouldn't become Batman. Then it would be a completely different person. I don't know. This movie has a lot of plot holes, is what I'm saying. But yes, George Clooney was wonderful. Jason Momoa was also a wonderful little cameo at the end. But you do have to watch, 15 goddamn years of credits because it's a superhero movie.
I did not watch the post. I did not know there was a post-credit scene until you said it.
It was probably the most well put together scene in the entire movie. I would go back and watch it. I would go back. It's probably the most fluid. It's probably the only one that really makes sense. Yeah, Because Jason Momoa is just a giant oaf. And that's what I love about him. Even when he's being serious, like he's still just a giant goofy oaf. I don't know. I can't really see him as like a terrible villain. But also, this movie is really difficult to watch because I feel like it's very dependent on having watched Zack Snyder's Justice League.
It is.
And also, given that the Flash is not a ubiquitous character like Batman or Superman for the last 30 fucking years of just social existence, we've had these superheroes. He was on, like, the Flash was on the CW.
And the Flash TV show on the CW was fucking fantastic.
I believe you. I've not watched it, but I intend to. But, like, you, even having watched Zack Snyder's Justice League, because I did, it wasn't good. I'm not going to talk about it. Anyways, it's still, like, that still didn't give you, like, his backstory. So this is basically his origin story.
And let me just say that...
the DCU.
Yes.
And we don't know where he fucking came from until, like, an hour and 45 minutes in, when he convinces 18-year-old Barry to go and recreate this accident, which somehow tracks, given that it's, like, years apart. It just happens to be the same day and month, but not the same year. I don't understand.
And 2 Ezra Millers is too many Ezra Millers.
1 Ezra Miller is too many Ezra Millers, because fuck that guy. I wasn't going to say his name. Sorry.
Watching him eat... And Barry is constantly eating because he's got such a high metabolism.
Right.
Watching him eat is fucking disgusting.
It is. It's so gross. I can't do it. It's
like the scene with the spaghetti in Batman's house is terrible. When he's trying to save the babies and the first thing that he goes for is a fucking vending machine so he can get a candy bar.
Mm-hmm.
And then he eats the burrito. The burrito was kind of funny. But
it was.
Like, it just... It's gross. Watching him eat is gross.
You're not wrong. It's very wrong. I also really don't understand how running forward too fast translates into running backwards. Also, the stance that he takes before he runs is overlong and goofy, and he doesn't need it.
No.
We clearly see that later, that he doesn't fucking need it. I also don't know why, when we did see Ben Affleck, that he was acting older than Alfred actually is. Like, the way he was doing his voice, it just...
So what would we rate this movie, Megan?
Oh, this is an F. This is an absolute fucking F. There is, this is the reason that James Gunn was brought over to entirely overhaul the DC Cinematic Universe. Because, like, it's fucking... This movie is trash. This movie is trash. This movie is absolute fucking garbage. If we could give it a negative score, I would. And I don't understand how it has 63% on Rotten Tomatoes. I genuinely don't. The audience score is fucking higher, and I don't understand. Because, like, we've talked about, like, some of this, but, like, it's overall, pacing is terrible. Plot holes are fucking everywhere. It ignores its own fucking rules. Like, it's... Even the bit with Michael Keaton, which, again, is such a treat because he's just so fucking insane. Why did he cut his hair? Like, when they met him, he had hair, like, past his fucking shoulders, like fucking Cousin Ed, like, flying shit all over his goddamn kitchen. And in the next scene, he's acquiesced. And, like...
I assumed the hair wouldn't fit in the cowl.
You know what? They could have made excuses like that when it came to Thor. And what happened in fucking Endgame? You got the fucking Big Lebowski wearing his goddamn helmet. Don't tell me they couldn't have found a way to make it work. Like, that just seems... It's so disjointed. It made me so angry to watch that movie. For 15 seconds of terrible CGI, in which only about 3 seconds is Nicolas Cage's face. And by the way, all of that emotion that he was trying to convey in the screen cap that he did, whatever they did to it, whatever terrible CGI that they used, ended up just making him look like he was constipated after a fight. Like, it was...
You're not wrong.
It's so bad. This was so... Like, he wasn't even credited for it. He wasn't even like...
He is credited, or we wouldn't have watched this. It's on his IMDB page.
Yeah, it's on his IMDb, but it also does say uncredited, and all of the other cameos don't have it listed on theirs. I checked. I was so mad. Why is it on his list? Why did I have to suffer through 2.5 hours of that utter fucking nonsense.
Okay, so that brings us to our age-old question. What would we rate the caginess of this film?
It's null. We can't fairly assess him at all. None of that was him. None of that was his fault. He had no lines. He had no space. He had no presence at all. And, like, I'm bummed that he didn't get to be the Spider-Man the Superman fighting the spider that he should have been in the 90s. Like, that sucks. That sucks. And they went ahead and did it anyways without telling him, and then they made him look like he had to take a shit real bad. Like, how dare you? How dare this movie have been made? Wasn't this, like, shelved for a while after it came out that, like, its lead was, like, a fucking child groomer? Like, didn't they keep this in the can for, like, 2 fucking years? Why didn't they just leave it there? Why did they pull it out? Because there's shit that should have come out that I guarantee you would be way better than this, that I would, like, bet my house on to have released. This, no. I wish the real Flash were here and could actually spin back time to the point where they decided not to release this fucking movie because it's terrible. Don't watch it, to those of you listening. Sorry. It's so... I get really mad, though, because, like, it makes me feel like my time is wasted.
Yeah.
And this was, like, doubly that because, like, even
because it's so long!
Like, no, it's really because, like, even bad Nicolas Cage movies where, like, we kind of regret watching them, like, we can at least have something to talk about that isn't just shit all over everything, and it doesn't feel like an absolute waste of our time. And this is, number one, not a Nick Cage movie, and number two, was also really fucking bad and inexhaustibly long. Like, I'm so disappointed in it. I'm done reading this thing to filth. I'm so sorry to anybody that actually appreciated that movie. Elizabeth, do you have anything else that you want to say?
Not about this movie, but we do have some breaking news. We are now available on YouTube.
Woo!
You can't see us. We don't have video up, but our podcast is now available on YouTube. So if you have a YouTube account, please go to @NotTheBeesPod and subscribe. Help us boost the algorithm a little bit so that maybe we can find a little bit of a larger audience.
Yeah, we would absolutely appreciate that because I don't know about you, but I think I can speak for both of us here, me and Elizabeth, that our opinions matter. And they're the best opinions, and they're the only opinions that you should listen to when regarding Nicolas Cage.
Yes, we are the definitive authority.
Absolute.
All right, go ahead and wrap it up, Megs.
Well, in addition to that, yeah, all the same spiel. Thank you so much for listening and following along with us. We absolutely appreciate you. If you want to help us out at all, you can interact with this episode. You can follow us on socials, on Instagram @NotTheBeesPod. You can also find us, if you're feeling generous, on patreon.com/NotTheBees. But that's going to do it for us this week. I've been Megs.
I've been Elizabeth.
We'll see you next time.